Okay, so drink of choice, because it's 6 in the morning, is a coffee. Well, who would have guessed that with my wife being away with her girls' book group for the weekend and just me and the hounds here, that the morning would have been such a cluster. Anyway, where was I? Okay, so now we've got this connected, we've got the drive in there, we've got this, so now the next thing that I want to do is to just try replacing the drive and then seeing if that works. Now what I have here is I have a little adapter that is apparently a dual directional adapter, but I can plug this straight into the IDE port here and then take a SATA drive directly from that. So let's plug this in and we'll see what goes on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that drive and everything over to the second IDE channel, and so hopefully that will mean that I will be able to get access to it still, even after I've put this tool in. Alright, so these cables are very old. Okay, and then this connects to here. Now, yes, well, it turned out that plugging the power supplies in is the appropriate thing to do. So what I have is like an array of cables or something. How are we going to do this? What we're going to do is we're going to put this guy here. And these things are all just crappy construction these days. Okay, so there we go. So I'm going to have that. So now let me connect that. Now that will give us the power for this guy. Where is the little... Wait, down. Does it go this way? Nope, it has to go that way. Alright. There we go. So now we're powered on there. We're powered on here. And now we just have to power up this guy. So let's... Okay. So now, if we turn it back over... and make sure that I'm not sitting on that board. Let's sit down it back up again. Let's get our keyboard out. Let's turn on our other camera. Start recording there. And now let's turn it on and see what happens. Okay. Okay, it's trying to work out what the hell it is, I think. Let's just put... Okay, so... Okay. Wonder if maybe just simply can't use it with this BIOS. Maybe this BIOS is just so old it's expecting to specifically have okay, well, let's turn it off. Let me make sure that that little adapter is set correctly. So if we take this guy out, okay, take these out here, take that out. Now there is supposedly some little okay, so what I had a look around and I couldn't really find anything on this, but what I think is going on is that the SSD drive, you know, this BIOS here expects to get the cylinders and heads and mode and stuff reported to it when it asks about the drive. That's what it's doing here, trying to detect it. And I think the SSD here is not reporting that. So to prove that, what I have is I have another old, well, it's another drive. It's a Western Digital Caviar SE16, but it's a SATA drive as well. You know, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this guy in, and then we'll boot it, and we'll see if it works. You know, so if this thing works, then, you know, because this is actually a physical drive, you know, so it has platters and it has heads and cylinders and so on. It has a physical geometry to report to the machine, whereas this doesn't have a physical geometry because it's just an SSD. So it makes some geometry up to report, I guess. So let's see what happens when we turn this on with this drive here. So, you know, if I touch it, I can feel that the platter's spinning, you know, and I can feel the rotational force, you know, the gyroscopic effect on it just very slightly. So I know power's getting to it, so we were getting power to this guy. And here you can see it's detected the item and it said what it is, and it's off and booting. So, you know, that's interesting. And it's detected as an 80, what is it? No, it's detected as an 8 gig drive. Now that's actually a 500 gig drive, so it's massively oversized, but let's exit out of this. Oh, hang on. To exit, you know, oh. Okay, so let's boot it again, and we'll actually see what happens when, we'll just go and see if we can install DOS to this drive here. Okay, well, it looks like it's going to install DOS okay on that drive. Let's do that, and when we're all done, we'll come back and see if we can make access or you do anything to get to the rest of that drive.